Greetings, Guardians. This is Olympus Alliance. And today we're stepping into something that has the potential to quietly reshape how fights are played, because Tempus is receiving his relics. And if you understand what this hero already does, then you already know this is not just another upgrade, this is a transformation waiting to happen. Tempus has always been about control, about tempo, about slowing fights down and forcing enemies to play on his terms, and now with relics entering his kit, what we are looking at is not just more power, but more influence over how the entire battlefield behaves, and that is exactly why today we are not just reading skills, we are analyzing direction, because the real question is not what these relics do, but what they turn Tempus into. So let's go step by step, clean, structured, and exactly how we do it. We begin with Relic Level 1. Chrono Field. At first glance, this might look simple, but it is not, because what Tempus does here is create an aura around himself, and that aura increases magic penetration for him and all allies inside it, and immediately this tells us something very important. This is not a selfish mechanic, this is a team-wide amplifier, and that alone changes his role. Magic penetration is one of the most impactful stats when it comes to dealing damage against high defense targets, because it allows your magic damage to bypass resistance, meaning more damage actually lands instead of being reduced, and when this becomes an aura, it means every mage standing inside that field becomes more effective. But the key detail here is positioning, because this is not global, this is area-based, which means Tempus now becomes a center point, a positioning anchor, and suddenly your team is not just about synergy, it's about formation, about who benefits from that aura and when, and that adds a layer of depth that wasn't there before. So right from level 1, Tempus is no longer just controlling the fight, he is enabling it. Now we move to Relic Level 10. Withering. And this is where the first real escalation begins, because now we are not just talking about buffs, we are talking about debuffs. Enemies in front of Tempus are now weakened, and this is where the synergy starts forming, because when you combine increased magic penetration for allies with reduced effectiveness on enemies, you are amplifying damage from both sides. You are increasing output and reducing resistance at the same time. And that is one of the most powerful combinations in the game. But there is something deeper here, because this debuff is applied in front of Tempus, which means positioning once again becomes critical, because if Tempus is positioned correctly, he is not just supporting your team, he is actively weakening the most important targets in the fight. And this is where the question starts forming. Is Tempus becoming a mage enabler? Or is he becoming a universal amplifier? Because any damage dealer benefits from weaker enemies. Now we go further. Relic Level 20. Time Paradox. And this is where things take a very serious turn, because now enemies inside the area take periodic damage, and this is not just any damage, this is damage over time, and with the recent changes in the game, this type of damage cannot be dodged. It cannot be reflected, and it cannot miss. It always lands. And that changes everything. Because now Tempus is applying guaranteed pressure. Not burst. Not conditional damage. But constant, unavoidable damage that continues ticking regardless of defensive mechanics. And if you combine this with his previous effects, with the aura increasing magic penetration and the debuffs weakening enemies, what you are creating is a zone of control where enemies are constantly losing value, constantly taking damage, and constantly being forced into a disadvantage. And this is where Tempus starts becoming more than a support. He becomes a pressure engine. A hero that slowly but surely shifts the fight in your favor without needing to rely on a single moment. And now we reach the final step. Relic Level 30. Time Rebound. And this is where things move from strong into potentially meta-defining. Because now Tempus applies chronostasis to enemies that apply crowd control to him, which means that any hero trying to disable Tempus is now at risk of being disabled themselves. This is not just control. This is counter-control. This is punishment. And this changes how opponents approach the fight, because normally, control heroes are targeted early to prevent them from acting, but now if you try to control Tempus, you risk triggering his effect and losing control of your own hero. And that creates hesitation. That creates mistakes. That creates openings. And that is where high-level gameplay shifts. Because now Tempus is not just influencing the fight through his own actions, he is influencing the decisions of the enemy. So now we step back and look at everything together. Relic level 1 gives him an aura that increases magic penetration for allies. Relic level 10 adds debuffs to enemies in front of him. Relic level 20 introduces unavoidable damage over time. Relic level 30 punishes enemy control attempts. And when you combine all of this, what you get is not a simple upgrade. You get a layered system. A hero that buffs allies, weakens enemies, applies constant pressure, and punishes interaction. So now we return to the original question. Is this a mage boost? Yes. Clearly. Magic penetration alone already confirms that. Is it a physical counter? Indirectly? Yes. Because weakening enemies benefits all damage types. But more importantly, this is a mechanic shift. This is a hero that touches multiple layers of the fight at the same time. And that is what makes this dangerous. Because it is not limited to one type of team. It expands possibilities. And that is exactly why we need to test it. Because everything we've said today is based on understanding mechanics. But the real truth comes from battle. From interaction. From synergy. So as soon as these relics go live, we will take Tempus into different compositions, mage-heavy teams, mixed teams, control setups, and we will see exactly where he fits and how far this power goes. Because one thing is already clear. Tempus is not staying the same. And if these relics perform the way they suggest, he will become a much more important piece in the meta. So Guardians, now we want to hear from you. What do you think? Is this the rise of a mage core? Is this a control nightmare? Or is this something even bigger? Let us know in the comments, and stay close, because as soon as this goes live, we dive deeper, we test everything, and we bring you the real results. Stay tuned, stay sharp. And as always, salute and friendship.